1 kilowatt hour with nuclear energy. Never. And finally, I mean, the contribution of the industry to fight the risk of proliferation, I mean, can be guaranteed through the new technology we're providing. Actually, the AREVA EPR reactor is extremely safe and strong, and it's impossible, actually, this is, we can discuss about that later, but the new type of reactor we're building, it's like a concrete and steel box. It's more a steel box because they are more steel than concrete. Whatever happens inside, I mean, nothing leaks out. I mean, a core melting, etc. And whatever happened outside, like a crash of a 747, I mean, it cannot break the box. Very safe. And in terms of the sensitive technology, and we can discuss during the question, sensitive technology meaning enrichment of fuel, meaning reprocessing or recycling. In AREVA, we will never license this technology other than countries that, for example, China, USA, P5 countries. And we're talking about major investments. We're talking about $20 billion investments. So this is our charter working with IAEA to license this sensitive technology. Only right now we're discussing with China, we're discussing with the US. We may discuss one day with India, and this is full stop. Fact number 6, very important right now. Jobs, jobs, jobs. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we can bring jobs, and a lot of jobs. And AREVA EPR reactor, the new reactor we're building, it's about 4,000 people during construction. It's about 400 to 700 people, I mean, for 60 years. And it's about $500 million in taxes. And actually, I mean, we are bidding right now for reactors in Virginia. Remember Lafayette? If we were to be successful, we will create in Virginia 11,000 jobs. 11,000 jobs. Because we have fuel manufacturing in Virginia, and we have heavy components manufacturing in Virginia as well. So in conclusion, I'll be very happy to answer your questions. I hope that you understood that my point was not to eulogize nuclear energy. Once again, in my opinion, it's just part of the solution, which has to be considered without either taboo or dogmatism. The situation now is critical. If we want to ensure energy security, and we need energy security in the US, if we want to fight against climate change, and we need to fight against climate change for our kids, and if we want to support our long-term economic development, remember, cheap electricity means that we are going to keep manufacturing in this country. If we don't have cheap electricity, we cannot do that. So we have to act now for kids and grandkids. So let us implement this solution, and whatever the rhythm our country chooses, it's not for me to decide, it's for the government. I really wish that in America, we will show in this race renewed leadership and continuity. Remember, nuclear energy was invented here, so we should be leading again. Thank you for your attention. So I should come back?
Charles, I think you can ask your questions.
Merci beaucoup.
De rien, de rien.
Well, that was a very comprehensive presentation, and we can almost stop there. But it was so rich. I think there's still plenty of questions to be asked. I know we're running a bit late. I know a lot of people in the audience also want to ask some questions. So instead of the 30-some questions I presented to your assistant, I'll try to pare them down.
Okay.
But first, I want to say, a very needed thank you to AREVA and EDF. 2 months ago, I was part of a group touring France for a week. I've been doing this, as Antoine mentioned, I'm doing this nuclear energy education project. It's been going on now for about 4 years at this point. Mr. Jerry Lenfest, who, as some of you may know, is a dear friend of many French businessmen, and he has admired the French nuclear system for many years. He's helped fund our study, and he helped us make the contacts to go there. And so I took along my co-investigator, Professor Frank Settle, who's a chemistry professor at Washington and Lee University in Lexington, Virginia, where Mr. Lenfest was an alumnus. And so Professor Settle admitted that he was skeptical of the French program. He said, well, these French are trying to pull maybe a fast one on us. But, we go on, and we're just, the hospitality was tremendous, and we're going on during the week. And it was just one wonderful lunch and dinner after another. And what really convinced Frank Settle was the wine. He said, "This is a wonderful country. Like, every meal except breakfast, every lunch and every dinner, you have wine." So I think give enough French wine, you can win over any skeptic to take an honest look at your program and the French model. So my first question to you, Jacques, is many American politicians look at the French nuclear model and saying, wait a minute, as you point out, you've learned from the Americans. You are an American now. Mm-hmm. And can America now learn from France? Should we emulate the French nuclear model? What's the same? What's different? Is it possible for the United States to have the same level of electricity production from nuclear, about 80% that the French have now? In the U.S. now, we have about 20% of our electricity from nuclear. But it's, our resources mixer is different. And we have a different political system and financial system. So could you talk to us a little bit more about that? How applicable is the French model?
Yeah. I would say, first, we don't need to have, I think it will be impossible for France to have, for the US to have 80% of electricity made from nuclear energy. It's way too much. Even if we want to stay at 20%, we need to build 35 reactors in the next 30 years. Right. So the magnitude of the US is too big. So, but let's look back at what worked in France. I try to reflect on that. I think not only we have the political, we did a few things right, except including the wine and the cheese. We had the political will at the beginning, and we took the risk to take a foreign technology, but a technology that was working. And so it was not invented here. So it was, for people who lived through that, I can guarantee you, it was extremely painful. And the CEA at the time, the Atomic Energy Commission, was very, very upset. So we had the courage, actually, to take a technology that was working. Second, we were lucky that we had the political will didn't change for 30 years. So it has to do a little bit with the political system, because the election used to be every 7 years. Has to do also, there was some kind of a bipartisan coalition at the French Assembly. And for people who know the French Assembly, there were two people. I remember Biro and Bataille. They were both. I don't know. I think Biro was from the Republicans, and Bataille from Democrats, actually. Socialist and today's majorité présidentielle. But these two key member of parliaments were able to keep a coalition for 30 years. And I think that's what we need right now. And third, I think what really worked is the openness. And I want to give, to go back to my boss, Anne Lauvergeon. Actually, she did something tremendous. Actually, she changed the way the industry is viewed. Because the problem of our industry for a long time, it was coming from the military. It was very close, She said it was like a bunker. And she opened everything. She put webcams actually in the plants. She opened everything. We had public debates and so, and really the way the industry is viewed now is very different. So to come back, I think we need political will and realism. You don't want to spend too much time on R&D, and if you need to take something coming from abroad, for example, from AREVA, don't hesitate, because it's working. We didn't. Second, some kind of a coalition, and here we will need a Republican / Democratic coalition, because as you know, here it's every 2 years. Mm-hmm. And third, we need to, I think it's time for this country to have an open debate, a public debate.